If you look up at the night sky after sunset or just before sunrise, you will see a star that will be many times brighter than any other shining body in the sky. Ancient Romans named this brightest dot of light Venus, which means love and beauty, and they were not wrong. It does appear very beautiful, but only from afar. Little did they know they were actually looking at the closest depiction of what they described as the underworld, or hell. If there is a world we have to name which resembles the concept of hell perfectly, it would be Venus. If you're new to this, let me tell you quickly a few facts about Venus so you know why this world we call Venus is the stuff of nightmares. Number 1. Surface temperatures on Venus are about 475 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. Number 2. The atmosphere is so dense that the pressure is 1,400 pounds per square inch. To understand how much that is, just know that the bottom of the ocean, the Mariana Trench, is 1,600 pounds per square inch, which is just 200 pounds more than Venus. The pressure is high enough that carbon dioxide is technically no longer a gas but a supercritical fluid. This supercritical carbon dioxide forms a kind of sea with around 6% density of water, covering the entire surface of Venus. Other than its temperature and atmospheric pressure, Venus is not that different from Earth. It's actually almost the same size as Earth and is even located next to Earth. Because of all its pros and cons, scientists have always promoted the idea that if we are ever going to inhabit Venus, we should do so by having flying or balloon colonies. This idea has gained mainstream attention because if you go 50 kilometers above the surface of Venus, not only is the atmospheric pressure the same as Earth, but the temperature is also 30 to 70 degrees Celsius, which is basically as it is here on Earth. It's not just that. There are many other advantages if we opt for a floating colony instead of making one on the surface. One major advantage is that Venus receives 40% more energy from the sun due to its proximity to it. And that means we can deploy solar panels or even use wind turbines because Venus has fast winds even 50 kilometers above its surface. Both of these options can provide humans with endless energy for electricity. Moreover, those winds would move our floating colonies like sails in the seas without needing to spend any additional energy to move. But the best part is that in order to stay afloat, we only need to fill our balloons with air. Yes, you heard me right. The atmosphere on Venus is mainly made of carbon dioxide, which is 1.5 times heavier than the air we breathe. Balloons rely on the principle of buoyancy, where the surrounding air is less dense than the gas inside the balloon, allowing it to float. This means if we fill the balloons with air by extracting nitrogen and oxygen from the Venusian atmosphere, we can basically have the floating cities of Venus. But of course, even though the floating cities of Venus are certainly a cool concept, I think if we are ever going to go there, we certainly should have a base on the surface as well, just so we can have the pleasure of spending time down there. But in order to do that, the Venus surface base would have to be made of something very, very strong. Maybe we should use tungsten since it has the highest melting point of any metal. It would need to be constructed back on Earth, transported and joined on Venus after being deployed there. But not just that. We would need a spacesuit that would basically allow you to be alive inside an oven that can cook a pizza. But let's say we're 50 or 100 years into the future, and both of these have been done. After spending a few days in your floating city cabin, you decide to go down to the surface and spend some time there. So you suit up and head down to the base on its surface in your futuristic jet. After landing, you would take a walk to the base. But what would you see around you? Since your suit is pressurized, you wouldn't feel any different than walking on Earth, as the gravity is 97% that of Earth. However, in terms of what you would see, if you were standing on the surface of Venus, you would likely see a dim reddish-orange glow due to sunlight scattering through the dense atmosphere. However, the details of the landscape would be hidden by the clouds, making it difficult to discern any specific features. And remember, these clouds are no ordinary clouds. They are made of sulfuric acid. If you're lucky, maybe you'll be there in time for some rain. And yes, this rain would be basically acid pouring down. But of course, you're in your specialized suit, so you have nothing to worry about except enjoying the rain and taking a calming walk on Venus's surface. You can even hike a mountain to sit on top and enjoy the view. It turns out that with enough technology, you can turn the hell into a heaven. But if you lose this technology, your specialized Venus suit, you wouldn't last even 10 seconds on Venus. And those 10 seconds would be extremely painful. Not only would it be boiling hot, but the immense pressure would cause severe physical damage to your body, resulting in the crushing of organs and other tissues. So it would be best if you didn't even think of taking off your spacesuit while on Venus. That is, unless you're inside the pressurized base. However, when this technology is going to happen is not something any of us know yet. Would it take 50 years? 100 years? Maybe even more? Let's not hold our breath for that and enjoy the life we have here on Earth, which is technically a transformed Venus we might have in 1,000 years in the future. All right, that's all for today. Please like and subscribe.